What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to a little bit of evening dose. Look at that Christmas intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Owen enjoying that. Look out for the YouTube shorts for the blooper reel. If you know, you'll find out. Look out at the YouTube shorts. But we're back this evening, man, because there's transfer news. It's not quite January yet, but double dose today. We will react when things are starting to happen. We've got the latest on Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo. After you trained me so well to say it that way, and then you undone it this morning. But I remembered, and we're going to be talking about Joao Felix as well, man. Interesting developments there as well as we head into the Christmas period, and more importantly, the transfer window. Owen, let's get straight into it. What's the crack with Cody Gakpo? What's the latest update? What we got?
What's the crack with Gak? I'll tell you what the crack with Gak is. Come on. Cody Gakpo, wow. This could be something that happens fairly quickly because it's being reported. You can shake your head all you want. It's good. It's been reported.
That was a bad good one. That's a bad good one.
It's been reported as an exclusive from the Mirror this evening by Simon Mullock that Manchester United have entered talks with Cody Gakpo to seal a transfer after learning of some financial issues that PSV are having. Now, it's not the first time actually we've heard about PSV possibly having some financial issues. We've actually touched on this morning that because of not selling Gakpo this past summer, they kind of budgeted for it. So because of that, they do need to sell their talismanic figure. Now, again, it goes on to say that Manchester United have open talks with PSV Eindhoven about signing Cody Gakpo. United instigated their move during the week after learning that looming financial problems at PSV mean the Dutch club are prepared to cash in on the 23-year-old forward for less than £50 million when the transfer window opens next month. Now, again, it continues by saying that the likes of Real Madrid, Arsenal and Newcastle are also circling Gakpo, who enhances his reputation in Qatar by scoring in all three of Holland's group stage games. But it would appear that Manchester United are the first club to really push in to these, actually enter official talks with PSV about the player. Again, Gakpo was set to be sold this past summer. At one point, Leeds thought they had a deal done. There was a private jet on standby to take Gakpo to Yorkshire. However, the PSV sporting director, Jon de Jong, actually blocked the sale at the last minute, the 11th hour, because he felt Eindhoven were selling him too cheaply. I believe de Jong might have even left since then as well. Nevertheless,
it says in the article, de Jong has since paid the price with his job. And exactly. Eindhoven's club money's worries have continued to mount following their failure to qualify for the group stage of the Champions League.
Exactly. There you go. So basically, one thing you can take away, Cody Gakpo is definitely going in January. Where it would appear...
That to me there was what I was going to home in on from the start.
Yes.
The ball started rolling now. He's moving. And I think actually, okay, we can get a bit giddy and a bit excited to say Man United, this article in the Mirror is claiming that Manchester United have began talks, right? And that's kind of our entry point, our base point. But if you want to go on, like you said, something that's almost definite, I think it's the fact that actually learning about PSV's, monetary problems, and learning the fact that obviously de Jong lost his job as a result, and Gakpo doesn't want to see sort of his boyhood club. I think it says, sort of go into financial ruins, and he's happy to leave now. That's interesting. I think that's a significant development. We'll talk about begin talks and get into that a little bit, but I think it's really significant that we're seeing a club that actually needs to sell him now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not the first time we've heard that. I remember, as long as these Gakpo links have been going on, certainly after the window closed, that the mindset was they'll go for him again in January, or they'll go for him again in the summer. And the reason why is because it wasn't a case of this past summer whereby, they kept him because, the United thing fell through. No, it was like they were selling because they needed to sell him. Like, again, his record's really good and he's a good player. And ideally, they would be able to keep him for longer term and sell him for even more, but they can't afford to financially. And what did Ruud van Nistelrooy say recently? Every player has a price, and there comes a point where you can't say no anymore. And I would think if the financial situation is how it is at PSV, they really can't afford to say no. Now, my only concern with that might be is that if Man United hear stuff like that, suddenly they start to haggle a little bit, don't they? They start going, wow, actually, then we don't have a ton of money either. So suddenly that whole
Can we come
50
to a sort
price,
of agreement here?
Well, yeah, maybe we get a 35. Maybe we get a 35 or a 30 or something like that, But at the same time, as we just said, I think the positive thing from that is that he is one of those players, as we said earlier on. He's on the market in January.
He's fully like there's available, and then there's like available. He's the latter. Say that again.
I said someone's buying him. Basically,
that's exactly. Someone's buying him. It's just whether or not it's us or not, which it looks like we should be front runners for. But in this transfer game, who knows if Arsenal sniffing around, like you said, and other teams potentially. I also think what's quite interesting. We spent a lot of time around Eric. I've seen him quite a lot in person as well, and I can see when he keeps his cards close. Yep, Eric. You know, when he keeps his cards close to his chest, right? That little clip though of when that reporter does ask him about
the smile.
There was something there. There was something there. Look, if he doesn't come, we may have custard pie on our faces and say, look at them Man United fans. They thought they were going to get him because Eric Ten Hag was smiling in the press. I saw that. I don't normally get involved with little clips like that. I'm like, whatever, man. He's just laughing, or he's just this, or he's just that. I'm not going to lie. I looked at that and I went, look at how slowly the smile started. He was trying his hardest to not. And actually, I think that whoever asked him that question did quite a good job of the way they did it as well.
They phrased it really well.
On top of that, there's can't say no to him anymore. Ruud van Nistelrooy said, and Eric he tried his hardest to do. There's many players you can't say, but that smile I think gave a lot away. That was the first bit, and then now coupled with this bit of news now, what I would say is this: when we've seen important transfers or significant transfers develop into a final conclusion that we want, i.e. the player comes, they usually unfold like this. Do you know what I mean? Like in these kind of stages, I see these kind of trigger points, and I know the De Jong one's a bad example because that you could say, well, that looked like it was, a thing. But with this being like a deal for a lot less and a different type of player, there is actually a selling club this time. There isn't all kind of a mess.
Player wants to leave.
Player wants to leave, even though we thought De Jong did. But exactly, this one does. So I think we should be in pole position. We should be in a really good spot to be able to land this player. And I don't know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but there should be no reason why we can't get him. There should be no reason why he's not a Manchester United player. I think we clearly know we want him. We clearly know that.
Mm-hmm.
We clearly now know that PSV have to sell. I think we clearly know that Gakpo wants Man United, I would say, ish, a lot, maybe. Yeah, I would say. I think that's a safe thing to assume. Yeah. Obviously, if other teams come in and offer more wages or money or whatever, but I just think the most advanced with the sharing of the agents, they're both Dutch, the contact from the summer, PSV now needing to sell, Ruud van Nistelrooy going public. That doesn't normally happen. Before, remember when they was playing against, who was they playing? Not Rangers. Who did they play in the qualifiers? And they lost.
It was Rangers.
Was it Rangers?
Yeah.
Did Rangers make it? Oh yeah, because Rangers lost every single game.
And then they had the worst performance in the Champions League ever.
It's funny how things work out. But yeah, oh shit, yeah, they didn't even beat Rangers. Fucking hell, PSV. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, during that period, I remember it was, they don't want to lose him, especially if they make the Champions League. And obviously his money will go up and his price will go up, And then when that didn't happen, it kind of just went a bit quiet where you're thinking, maybe January they might go back. And when Ronaldo leaves, it turns back to that. And I just think everything's fallen into place to where that's a good move to happen for the player, for both clubs. And
also, like you said about Van Nistelrooy there as well. You mean, you never know. Van Nistelrooy might have been having a word in his ear at the same time, going, you know what? Yes, that's the place. Go there.
He's definitely going to speak well about it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Go there. You can become a legend. I would assume Van Nistelrooy probably knows, like every Dutch person knows each other, but he probably is familiar with Eric Ten Hag as well. He's going, that's a good coach for you. I think that could work out. You know what I mean? It feels like that's a right move. And to your point, it does feel like now that certainly stuff is starting to speed up. My hope would be, and I think this would probably be Ten Hag's hope as well, is that this isn't a January deal like a Bruno Fernandes, whereby for whatever reason it gets done at the end of January. They're hoping that early on, get it done.
Yes.
There's lots of games to come. We need to get him involved quickly.
Agreed.
I was a proponent of during the World Cup. I was like, there's no reason. I understand he's at the World Cup, but there's no reason why he can't initiate talks back then.
No,
As
it's true. It's true.
As soon as you knew Ronaldo was gone or was going, you could have started talks. Now we don't know what's been
But
going
I
on
think
behind
that's
the scenes.
we don't know, but that probably did happen. That probably did. You
You
know when
would
players
hope
do the
so.
whole like, I'm focused on this and I don't think about that noise. They're talking shit. Like
Yeah.
when you know when you're not, they play football, right? They train, they play games, and in the days where there's no games and you go training in the morning, you know how much downtime footballers have, especially on international duty when you're in a hotel. You're
Yeah.
not
And
even
we say
allowed
these
out to go around walking around the thing. His
that
phone's not
entire
ringing with
5
his
weeks.
agent.
Yeah, exactly. That entire 5 weeks he's out there, he
Of course
never
it
spoke to
is.
his agent once. Like, you
Also,
know what I
he's
mean?
ringing his family, his people. Oh, you know, how's it going? What's going on? You know, imagine I'm painting a mad scenario here, yeah, because you know
Go
I
on.
don't know
Go
this,
for
but
it. It's in the evening.
imagine
It's nearly
like
Christmas. Go
it's
for it.
even exactly. Yeah, imagine Cody Gakpo's mum, you know, ringing him on international duty. How's it going, son? You know, you're right. Yeah, mum, I'm doing good. What's the latest? How's what's going on with the move? What? Yeah, spoke to what's the agent's name? Can't remember his name. Spoke to him earlier, man. Yeah, Man United. They spoke to Ten Hag today, looking to try and get this done. You know, how do you feel? Do you want to go? Well, yeah, I spoke to the president back at PSV. You know, they're saying the money. You know, I'd hate to see PSV go down. Down and
Yeah.
under and struggle. And and obviously we spoke to Eric in the summer as well, Mum. You know, he's a good guy. He's Dutch. He
De
look
Jong lost
after
his
me.
job.
Yeah, De Jong's gone. I spoke to Rude as well. He's saying that they'll look after you there. I'm speaking to Terrell as well. Been on international duty with him. You know, he's talking about how good Eric's been. Terrell was like, yeah, he wanted me from Feyenoord when I played against him as well. So he just, I think I'm going to go, Mum. Yeah, well, when your agent rings you, you sort it out. That's happening, bro. I don't know if that exact thing's happening. I don't know if that exact. Don't quote like this. Do not come here for the official thing behind the scenes. I've got no sources. Yeah, I'm KG right now.
The exclusives in the mirror, not here. Okay,
do you know what I'm saying?
A strange one.
But I don't. What I'm saying is that notion of like players in the media, and rightly so, they should say it. But players saying, "I don't think about this. Doesn't cross my mind. I'm just playing my football, and I'm only focused on the national team." You are focused on the national team, but in the other 18 hours of the day that you have downtime or whatever it is, your phone will ring and your agent will say, da, 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 da. Look at when I know Pogba, people may say, oh, he wasn't loyal or he did whatever, but look at the program he had on Amazon. His agents, he's on his way back from training, the Pogmentary, his agent's ringing him, oh, do you want to do this? And Rayola's talking to him and the lady's talking to him, and they're like, well, we need to. Well, Zidane they don't want you at Real Madrid at the minute because they're trying to hold out for Mbappe. So you're probably going to have to wait, or you're going to have to do this or that. These things get spoken about all the time. So here's another thing though. Laurie Whitwell has said, it's business as usual at Man United though during the sale process. So any money spent in January would come off the summer budget. And he says that Eric Ten Hag is the key voice. So that's the interesting part, because we do have to talk about that knock-on effect should this deal happen, the best part of 50 million. You could either say it's somebody that actually Man United, I probably would have gone back for in the summer. You could argue. He probably would have been a target for then. An actual striker, maybe with him as well, you might say. So that doesn't really, I don't really mind that. How do you feel about that coming off the summer budget? I know what you said this morning about we don't really know what the summer budget is, new owners, etc., etc. But there's still what Laurie Whitwell's saying is it's still business as usual, and as it stands, that is coming out of the chunk for the summer. And let us know in the comments below how you guys feel about that. But what are you saying on that, Owen? Does that hinder your thoughts at all?
No, not really, because again, you have to be business as usual, and you have to operate as if the club wasn't going to be sold and everything was going to remain exactly the same as it is now. However, we know that the chances are that's not the case. That's not to say that you should spend massively in January being like, it's all going to be fine come the summer. We're going to have all this money, because you never know. But I feel that this particular transfer has been sped up. The original mindset was to keep Ronaldo until the summer. He would leave in the summer, and then they were going to replace him then. And that's not to say Cody Gakpo is a Ronaldo replacement. He's a replacement in the body. He's an extra player there. But I don't think he's not a replacement in terms of a out-and-out striker. Next season, he's going to be playing as a striker. That's not going to happen. But He's going to be this player that can play across the entire front three. So to go back to your point, it doesn't worry me about anything like that. I mean, again, like we just said, I think that even someone like Louis van Gaal during the World Cup, who would have been super focused on that Netherlands squad and trying to get them as far as possible, you don't think in the downtime when they weren't doing tactics or they weren't doing training or whatever, but they're just having meals, you reckon Louis tapped him on the shoulder and went, "Going to United then, are you?" You know, or said something, you know what I mean? Of course, he'd say something like that. There was that weird story about finding his phone in the toilet. Did you hear about that story? And the calls from Man United. Yeah. And the thing is with that story, I looked at that and went, "That's a great story." But who on earth, when they has just Man United saved in their phone? Not a specific person, not Richard Arnold, not John Murtough, not anyone at the club, just Manchester United. Of course, there's only one number. That's Manchester United. It's like picking up the bat phone and calling. Oh, come on, that's so not true. Yeah. That's so rubbish. But it's not true. Get back to the point. I was confident before the World Cup that this was the one. I was confident during the World Cup. I had a little bit of a wobble recently when we started to see those prices really start to go up. But now when you hear the stuff about financial issues going, they're not going to go like 60. I don't even think they'll go 50. I think it'll be something around like 40. They might even, I think it'll be 40 plus add-ons. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be ginormous because I don't think PSV will be in the position to bargain. And to your point earlier on this morning, Flex, as well, yes, they can be clubs circling, but if Manchester United are the only one that puts an offer on the table, PSV don't really have much of a choice. Let's be honest.
No, they have to sell him. They definitely have to sell him now. I think that's clear. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that. Yeah, clear. I think it's interesting to see how this plays out. I see it really gathering momentum, like you said. This is something that has been sped up now. And I think, and this is before the window's even open, by the way. This is quite significant considering we are on December the 23rd now. So, we're a little bit away from the transfer window actually opening. And that's the thing where can this turn into we can get him quite quickly, actually. That's where we've kind of had our discussions on what type of player he is, where he fits in. Like you said, multifunctional, can play literally across the whole front three, play on the right, play up front, play on the left. More options, strengthens our chance of getting top four. So it's definitely a good thing if we get him. Yeah. He's not, I don't see him as a focal point as the straight up number 9. He isn't that. He definitely isn't that. I see him best as a left winger. I do. Like where Rashford can play. But again, he clearly can play on the right. He clearly can play like a fill-in up front. If you've got Martial can do it, he might play it in a different way. He's probably a bit more explosive.
He did it for Netherlands. He played in the front two. He played in the front two alongside Memphis Depay. And he's a tall, rangy player. Play a front two, but that's what I like about him. I like his stature. Again, people can say it's quite basic analysis, and I know technically he's still good. He's got great touch on him. He's got good finish. When he cuts in off that left-hand side, I've seen him rattle a few into the far corner as well, and he's got he can go both ways. He can take it past people. But I just like the fact that he's a physical specimen. You look at the Premier League and you look at kind of the attributes that you need. And some players don't look like they're a physical specimen and still manage to pull it off. Like Saka looks quite small and slight. But look at him. He's at it. Martinelli, same thing. Son's quite skinny as well. So I'm not saying just because he's tall and that. But even when you watch him play, he's explosive. He does possess power with the ball to knock it past people and get past them, to cut inside. He's got these really long limbs. He'd probably be good in the air as well. So I like it. I think he looks really athletic. He looks really skillful, and a forward-thinking, direct player. Which we need to sign him. Someone that Ten Hag wants. Let's not forget this. We can't go for. I don't think we can go through January and not get anyone. I mean, Ten Hag kind of spoke about it in the press conference where he said, look, there are a lot of really strong sides aiming for not even 4 spots, really. It's 2 spots we're aiming for here. It's 3rd and 4th. 1st and 2nd are pretty much gone already. And there are a lot of teams that don't go into 2. There's us, there's Liverpool, there's Chelsea, there's Newcastle, there's Tottenham. That's 5. That's 5 into 2. And to be honest, they'll strengthen in January. And we've lost a player. So we need to strengthen. And I think Ten Hag will really push that point of going, you brought me in to develop the club to, win things eventually. The first step is getting back in the Champions League. And if we don't sign someone in January, come the end of the season, we'll look towards this moment now and say there was a player there that we could have got. We knew the price, there was financial issues, and he wanted to come. The groundwork was already done in the summer. Personal terms aren't an issue because they were already done. They've been done since August. And if we don't get him, or possibly this other player, which we'll talk about shortly, we'll focus back to this point and go, that was it. That was where where our season kind of changed direction a little bit.
Yeah, that was it. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Give us your views, give us your, excuse the pun, give us your comments and views about Cody Gakpo. Do you like this? Are you excited by the fact that talks have now begun according to the Mirror? Be interesting to see over the next couple of days, like we always do when we're talking about transfers, especially when you talk about transfers. Actually, you can't take everything as gospel. What's been reported by the Mirror and the Mirror only, as it stands at the time of recording this, is that Manchester United have initiated talks. Let's see what domestic journalists do. Your Laurie Whitwells, your Samuel Luckhurst, your Simon Stones, et al. And like I said, since recording, like I said, Laurie Whitwell did kind of chime in, and his tweet spoke about Cody Gakpo on Tuesday's episode of the Talk of the Devils that they do on the Athletic, and the possible financial pressure to PSV selling. So he's basically saying, this is what I was saying on Tuesday. It's now Friday. And then in quotes, it says, business as usual as Man United during the sale process. So any money spent in January would come off of the summer budget. Erik ten Hag, key voice. I would almost say that's a bit of a cosign, because he's come to the forefront to promote his podcast from Tuesday to say, see, I was basically saying this. So I suppose that's another journalist in the hat, kind of co-signing that ish, I would say. So let's see. Let's have a look on that. The other story is very interesting. Joao Felix, Duncan Castles. What we got?
This is a really, really interesting one because, again, it does come from Duncan Castles. Now, some people might say, well, Duncan Castles, I'm not sure about that. The key thing here is that Joao Felix is a George Mendes player, and Duncan Castles and George Mendes, those stories go together like that. He was the first to report that Ronaldo had issues at Manchester United this summer. Trace it all the way back to, when was it, June? Whatever it was. He was the first to report that. And a lot of the times, if George Mendes is looking to move players on, or he's looking to speed things up when it comes to transfers, it goes to Duncan Castles. So he's reporting this evening, this is in the Daily Record, that Atletico Madrid are prepared to let Joao Felix join an English Premier League club on loan next month, as long as the financial fair play costs of the Portugal international's contracts are covered by his new employers. Now, there are a couple of clubs interested, one being Arsenal. They're looking to replace or try and soften the loss of Gabriel Jesus to knee surgery. Manchester United are also considering Felix as a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, it's being reported by Duncan Castles that possibly Arsenal are a bit more advanced in these discussions, more than Manchester United are. But certainly, it looks like Manchester United are definitely in the conversation there. It's also been reported that this could actually not even be a situation where it's an obligation to buy. Because of the cost of his contract at the moment, they're suggesting that the La Liga club is looking for a loan fee of half of actually about 8 million quid, plus the player's salary to be paid in full. That's the financial fair play parts of it. And as I mentioned, they're suggesting there would be no actual contractual obligation to buy. So you could just get him for a straight loan until the end of the summer and then reevaluate things there. Flex, 8 million quid to get a 23-year-old Joao Felix to the end of the season with no obligation to buy. So we talk about the summer. We don't know what's going to happen in the summer. If we were to buy him, the problem was previously was that we'd have to get like 100 million euros, 100 million quid. It's a big amount of money. But just a loan, a straight loan, 8 million quid till June, would you take it?
I'm telling you now, yeah, I'd have Joao Felix all day. I love Joao Felix. I've always loved Joao Felix. Is he the answer to us as a number 9? I'm not sure. I think the problem with the Joao Felix situation is, or if you see it as a problem, is where would he play for us? What position? Can play off the front where Bruno plays, but Bruno's the guy. He can play off the left. Saw him do that for Portugal all the way through. He can play off. He's multifunctional as well. Is he a goal? Is he a big goal scorer? Not so much. But I think he's fantastic. I think he's creative. I think he's really silky with his feet. I think he can be a better goal scorer than in that Atletico Madrid team that plays in a certain way. And I think the reins would really be let off him versus Simeone versus Erik ten Hag. and then you add in what, like you said, an 8 million loan without the obligation to buy. If you think about it, he's probably the better one to go for in terms of it's only 8 million, and then you might be able to get you might be able to you might just can send him back if it didn't work and you thought that wasn't quite well. But because Cody Gakpo, going back to that a little bit, Cody Gakpo, we've wanted him for a while. We know that Eric really likes him and that can work for us as well. We're not afraid of that. We're fine with that. When you add Joao Felix in, I'm trying to get both, bro. If that comes out of the summer budget, I would do it because I would, because he's more of a gamble, isn't he? 8 million with no obligation to buy.
I mean, also
so
as well, you look at the financial situation side of it. So Ronaldo, they reckon that we save between sort of, is it 12 and 16 million in terms of wages when we let him go. And we didn't pay off his contract as well. It was just done. You look at the contract that Joao Felix is on at Atletico, it's like a 7-year contract, 18 million euros per season. So basically, if you're saying they want the wages to be paid in full, that's about half of that. So that's about 9 million euros for the remainder of the season, plus 8. Again, you're looking at about 17 million. It's not far off the money that we saved for Ronaldo. It fits.
I would go hell and earth for both in this window, and I'd keep Wan-Bissaka till summer.
Well, also as well, those people that go, those people that go, what they'll go, but Bruno's on number 10. They both play for Portugal, same team.
Yeah,
they figure out a way.
He plays out on the left, and but sometimes Bruno plays on the flipping right.
They figure out a way
before as well. Yeah.
And what do I keep saying? Got to look towards that bench and go, where's my options? Well, how many competitions 100%. Are we in? I'm with you. I know the money might not be there, and some of the comments might be, you're playing FIFA here, guys. It's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah. Why not try?
Why is that not possible?
Why not try? Cody Gakpo, okay, they're saying, and again, this is where you look to PSV and go, actually, you know what? They haven't got as much money. So why don't we take that money down a little bit and we're not spending as much as well? It's a possibility.
I'm going for Joao Felix all day long, man. I proper like Joao Felix. It's not. I do think it might just be more of a personal thing. I've liked him for ages. I've always admired him. I always think he's a wicked player, and I know people sometimes see him as not that potent. He's not. Like I said, he's not a killer in front. He's not known as that. But I've seen him play up close a couple of times. Obviously, when we played Atletico last year, I met him as well after the game. Nice kid, and I seen him play in the World Cup as well, and I just really like him, and that's in person. And also when I've seen games in the Liga as well and in the Champions League, the kid oozes class, man. He's a very talented player. He is so good. And I think if we got Cody Gakpo and him, you're talking about massive options there now, And then obviously Rashford doing what he's doing now, Garnacho starting to build and do what he's doing. And hopefully Jadon Sancho can come back and to the forefront. Then you've got Anthony and Martial. We're sorted. That's all the firepower we would need for the next 5 years. What longer if they perform? You know what I mean?
Longer. And also with Joao Felix as well, you'd be looking at a situation where you go, actually, you know what? Come the summer, again, I know there's no obligation to buy, but if it does go well, and then you've got new owners, negotiate.
Take it out of the budget.
Yeah,
exactly.
Figure it out.
I'm going for that all the way along. The only reason why I don't think that would happen, Arsenal are sniffing around that one, and the reports are saying that they're in more advanced talks than that, and that makes sense because they need to replace Jesus. In this means, I saw Arteta went quite strong, saying they are going to be active. I know they want Mudryk more than anything. That looks like their Gakpo is Mudryk. Like all they've ever spoke about is him. He wants the club. Weird. I think who was it? Odegaard's wife, someone's wife, was in an interview. Yeah, I saw it. I saw an interview, and it was one of the players' wife. No, sorry, it was Zinchenko's wife. I think she's like a media person. She was doing an interview with him.
That would make sense. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was Zinchenko's wife, and she was like, "Yeah, hopefully see you in the future, maybe as a gunner." It was like a. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's their Gakpo, where they're like, "We're going to get this guy." And obviously, I spent a lot of time with Robbie in the last month, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we're going to get Mudryk. So if they don't get him, I'm going to come back for him." But they're like, they're getting him. So, but Joao Felix, I've seen has been mentioned a lot for them. But the money seemed to be an issue, like 80 million euros. But now it's not that; it's 8 million. Arsenal will be all over that now. All over that.
That was the thing with Gakpo, wasn't it? It was 100 million euros. They went, that's a lot for January. But now, like you said, it's not even obligation as well. It's not even 100 million euros in the summer. It's 8 now.
That changes everything. And if you're him though as well, and Man United come asking for you, and Arsenal come asking for you. Interesting. Arsenal top of the league in a title challenge. Both
Mm,
teams are in Europa.
yeah,
Arteta with a steady ship.
yeah.
Eric Ten Hag on the way up to a steady ship, but there hasn't really been any proof there. But you could argue there's not been proof there for Arsenal doing it because they haven't
And
won
also as
anything yet.
well,
They
what
might
if
finish the season badly and finish third.
what
You
if
don't
Bruno
know.
picks up the phone? What if Bruno picks up the phone? Play with your teammate, your international teammate
So
that goes, look, I'm telling you,
yeah,
come here. I
you've
know
got to
it's
come
not
here.
Maguire's the captain, but I'm really the captain here. Things are good. I know it didn't go well with Cristiano, but look, this manager's are really, really, really good. We're going places, and stay
Yeah,
till the end of the season, then you can figure it out, sort of thing. And what we've got to be cautious about is, as I mentioned as well here, is that it could be more of a fishing exercise by George Mendes to put it out to his
exactly.
preferred journalists just to say, look, actually, I know that 100 million euro thing put a lot of people off, but there's something to be worked out here, guys. Actually, it can just be 8, and it doesn't have to be an obligation. Basically, if you talk
Exactly.
to us, we'll make it work. Don't be
Yeah,
scared. Don't be afraid. We can make it
yeah.
work. And going back to Cody Gakpo, like we said about earlier, he's on the market. You would feel with these kind of reports, Joao Felix, there's a deal to be done in January. He's one of these names that is on the market in the January window. Whether he goes to United, I'm less confident with that one. And I still do feel like it will just be the one. But as we just said, why not? If we came out of the January transfer window with Cody Gakpo and Joao Felix, you'd be like, I tell you what, that's not a bad window for a team that's got no money.
That would be a proper window. That would be. I'd
And if
shut
it's
up the
business
shop
as
and say
usual,
fine.
don't even use the sale as an excuse. If it's business as usual, if this was a normal window and it was business as usual, and you wouldn't even go to sell the club, and these two became available, business as usual would be to at least explore both. Why not?
100%. I think, and in light of why we done the Gakpo one when we said actually it's a significant thing because now there's a club willing to part ways. That's what it is with Atletico. It seems that's what Duncan Castles is implying. That's the price they've gone. You know what? If we can get 8 million for him and you pay his wages with no obligation to buy, we'll take that and then we'll sell him in the summer because he'll go somewhere and hopefully make a home for himself at that place. If not, he's on the market anyway and we can sell him for whatever. And we've got our 8 million and we've got him off the wage bill. So for that, because it looks like he clearly wants to leave as well. So very, very interesting there. Watch this space. That's your latest Manchester United update. Cody Gakpo talks have begun according to the Mirror. So take that as you will. Laurie Whitwell has chimed in a little bit to half co-sign that indirectly. He didn't reference that article in the Mirror, but I think because the topic of conversation has been Gakpo online in light of the revelation of the Mail article, he's kind of re-entered the chat to say, look, I was talking about this on Tuesday, so let us know your thoughts on that. Are you excited about that? And Joao Felix, according to Duncan Castles, is available for 8 million euros with no obligation to buy on loan until the summer. Would you leave Gakpo and would you only go for Joao Felix? Some people may be sitting going, you know what? I think Joao Felix is better. It's only 8 million. Why are we not going for that? Go for that now. Put all the eggs in that basket and go for him. You may think he's a better suited to Manchester United than Cody Gakpo. Let us know what you guys think. It's your show. It's your channel. It's your community. Smash the like on the video, guys, and we'll see you soon with more content. We're out of here. Peace.